Did Phoebe have a doppelganger, except for her own sister?
What kind of miraculous material does your t-shirt need to contain to clean itself?
Is Ross Geller a shitty father? Greetings, my name is Alcott Scoffer. I am the host of Denouncing Hollywood show. And today, me and my assistant Jiff Fullylover will speak of inconsistencies and details in Friends that even true fans of the show don't have a clue about. Let's start with the small things, such as the fakes. Have you ever noticed that Monica in the season 8 episode, the one with Rachel's date, isn't always Monica? Look at this woman sitting next to Phoebe in Central Perk. Does she look like Monica to you? And later, in season 9, the same thing happens with Rachel during the episode, the one with the mugging. Rachel rushes into Monica's apartment to notify Joey about him getting an audition. And look who's standing in Rachel's place a few seconds later. Not only is this a different woman, she doesn't even have the same outfit on. Sure, we all know that actors in shows like Friends need stand-ins, but what's so hard about not showing that to the audience?
Oh, that might be because back in the 90s, TV shows were filmed in a 4:3 aspect ratio. And the modern format is 16:9, which is less square-like. Maybe earlier viewers simply couldn't see what was going on the sides of the screen, and the crew made use of it.
They should have fixed that anyways.
You know what wasn't fake on Friends, though? The coffee that the Friends drank in Central Perk. It was completely authentic. We can only guess how wired all the main actors were at the end of each working day.
I guess that the assistants also drank way too much coffee. That's what happens when you allow them some creative freedom on set. The Magna Doodle in Friends matched the contents of the episodes with its drawings and writings. It was supposed to be Easter egg material, but it turned out to be a fail. Not only did the red slider on the Magna Doodle change sides in season 6, episode 11, after the argument scene between Monica, Chandler, Janine, and Joey, whose double dating scheme failed miserably. The assistants also forget the position of the Magna Doodle pen in season 7, episode 11, where the pen hung freely before Chandler walked in on Rachel, devouring the cheesecake they both stole. And right after the door was shut, the pen magically moved to its holder. No, these are minor details that can be only noticed by someone extremely attentive. But the gravest of all Magna Doodle fails took place in season 4, episode 20. Where within a single scene of wedding discussions, the writing on Magna Doodle changed from get out to poop, and back to get out. Without any of the characters changing the writing, of course. You know who should have really got out? The assistant whose incompetence made this fail possible.
Well, sometimes small fails lead to lovely new details. For example, did you know that the golden frame that hangs on the door of Monica's apartment wasn't originally some kind of a decoration for the peephole? It was a mirror until one member of the crew accidentally smashed it.
Could be the same guy that changed the writings on the Magna Doodle within one scene.
Anyways, the golden frame looks so good that the crew decided to leave it in place. And now it's one of the most recognizable Friend symbols.
But most fails are just fails. Take the self-cleaning shirt Joey wore in season 10, episode 8. He got his head stuck in the door before the Thanksgiving dinner, and when his friends freed him, he fell right on top of the table with food, which made his shirt disgustingly dirty. Not even a few moments later, his shirt looked 5 times cleaner, as if Monica got her hands on it. The only problem is that she didn't, and Joey didn't have time to clean it up himself. A typical case of negligence on the show.
But then there are funny cast slip-ups. For example, we all remember that Phoebe's half-brother Frank appeared in season 3, and that's when they recognized each other as relatives. But his first true appearance took place in season 2, episode 6, where Phoebe played guitar outside the coffee shop and got a few dollars and a condom as a reward. Giovanni Ribisi, who played her brother Frank, also played the guy that gave her a condom instead of money and returned later to get it back. Funny thing? No one ever said that the condom guy wasn't Frank. Maybe he and Phoebe just tried being nice to each other, and that's the reason they never mentioned this condom incident.
What about the moving building behind the window in Monica's kitchen? Was that a funny slip-up too? Sometimes there is a brick wall extremely close to her window. Sometimes there are 2 windows in the kitchen. Sometimes there is sheer darkness behind the glass. And what was that in the last episode of the show? A cardboard wall? Really? That's the last episode in the show. At least try to pretend you care.
Speaking of pretense, were you ever confused by the spelling of Rachel's last name? It seems like the creators of the show accidentally created a mystery. According to Warner Brothers press materials, Rachel's last name is spelled just like the color, Green. But if you take a look at the door of her office at Ralph Lauren or at her invite to Ross and Emily's wedding, you'll see that her last name is spelled with E at the end. So if I'd want to invite Rachel to our show, which spelling am I expected to use?
None, because Rachel Green is just a character, Mr. Fullylover.
I think I'd make 2 copies with different spelling.
Moving on to more significant details. Did you ever think that Monica must have felt terribly anxious due to her weird career choice? I mean, she lost lots of weight since she was young. It must have been hard for her to come to a desired shape, and I can't help but wonder, why choose a job that is directly connected with different types of delicious food? Doesn't its presence bother her at all? Or does she enjoy torturing herself this way? Or did she become indifferent towards food in general? But in order to cook, you should like food. That just doesn't make any sense.
Monica looks like someone very strong-willed to me. I'm not surprised that she coped with her problem and chose a career of her liking. Speaking of careers, do you remember the puppets that starred in Friends?
Those losers only managed to get silent roles.
And they messed those roles up! Oh, I guess that was kind of mean to put it like that.
Messed up? Really?
Yes! They worked with the male nanny that Rachel and Ross hired for Emma in season 9, episode 6. So Sandy put a green puppet with yellow clothing on his left hand and a purple one with blue clothing on his right hand to entertain the baby. And while Ross questioned the nanny, the puppets managed to switch places within one scene, from one hand to the other. There was no one who could possibly help Sandy change their places within such a short amount of time. I guess they got nervous, then got confused and
failed their only task miserably. For the puppet's sake, they had one job. Anyways, they most certainly didn't suck as much as Ross did at parenting. Does anyone even remember Ross's firstborn, Ben, by the end of the show? He had multiple appearances in the first seasons, but after season 7, he simply disappears. And that's despite the fact that Ross seemed to have a real parental bond with him. However, Ben doesn't even get invited to Ross's wedding with Emily. One could say that Ben's moms didn't want him to fly to London. But what about Ben never meeting his half-sister, Emma? Was that the producer's fault, or was Ross just a dick, concentrating on his daughter and losing touch with his elder son? I think both options are valid.
Ross isn't the only forgetful person on the show. Chandler confessed his love to Monica twice, and both were considered the first. The first one was on the episode The One with All the Thanksgivings, where Monica does a little dance for him with a turkey on her head. And the second confession happens in the episode The One Where Everybody Finds Out. Chandler confesses his love for Monica to Phoebe while Monica hides in the bathroom. Both Monica and the audience act as if they had never heard this confession before. Some people blame screenwriters for this inconsistency. Some blame the supposed gas leak in the building that may have led to a short memory loss. But I blame the turkey! I am almost sure that its presence hypnotized both Monica and Chandler. And that's why they had to go through the first love confession thingy once more.
Speaking of love, isn't it funny how the creators of the show made everyone hate poor Emily? They made everyone root for Ross and Rachel, making Emily the bad guy when she agreed to stay with Ross on one condition. He gets rid of all the stuff connected to Rachel. And it does sound extreme if one forgets the fact that Ross said Rachel's name instead of Emily's during the ceremony, and that he almost left with his ex-girlfriend on the honeymoon that was supposed to be his and Emily's. Now, who is the bigger jerk here? Definitely not Emily.
The creators of the show made us root for all kinds of couples within the main character's group. Did you know that all the friends made out with each other at one point or another in the show? In all kinds of ways. And I'm not speaking of light kisses on the cheek. Oh no, not at all.
I wonder how they were able to do all the kissing. Sometimes I wonder how these people managed to communicate so much at all. They all had jobs, yet they spent hours chatting in that coffee shop together. It looked as if each of them could just take leave at any time to go and meet his or her friends. Very unrealistic.
Well, you know, even the actors themselves didn't have much time for their friends outside the studio. The pace of filming was so quick and happened so often that screenwriters even included Matt LeBlanc's broken arm and Lisa Kudrow's pregnancy into the script in order to not slow down the production process.
They should have slowed down the pace and put some more effort into the details. Have you noticed that in the very first episode of the show, Phoebe has a doppelganger? During the moment where Phoebe tells everyone that she has just pulled out 4 eyelashes, her exact copy sits behind Monica's date, Paul, and takes a sip from a cup of coffee. I guess there's nothing that could be more interesting than listening to your own stories. Or maybe it was her twin sister Ursula being a ninja and appearing for a brief second among her sister's best friends without getting noticed.
By the way, did you know that Phoebe's sister Ursula is a shared character of 2 sitcoms? She was originally a character on the show Mad About You, and her appearance on Friends was kind of a crossover. Does it mean that both sitcoms happen in one movie universe? Apparently, yes. It's funny, considering the fact that originally Phoebe wasn't even part of the main Friends group in the show, as well as Chandler, who initially was intended to just be a supporting character. To think that we could have lost Monica and Chandler's couple and Phoebe's quirkiness!
I'd prefer it if the show would lose its annoying theme song.
What? But it's the most joyful song on friendship ever!
Even the cast didn't like it, as well as dancing in the fountain. Jennifer Aniston's words, not mine. One of the not so many things I can agree with her on.
Oh, I'm sure you just need to get a better taste of this song. Sing along. I'll be there for you, la 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 la.
No! Stop that! Or I'll denounce this song as hard as I do it with movies.
Did you like our list? Do you think you've noticed a detail that went over the other fans' heads? Let us know about it in the comments. And if you want some devastating movie reviews and smart humor, you should subscribe to our channel, Movie Mavens. You'll love our Denouncing Hollywood show!